yeah, I should have paused it when she came in. All right. So we think 1/12 is the smallest. Why?
The bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece.
I do have a YouTube channel. I too. Yeah. All right. So, go ahead.
The bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece.
All right, great. It's got a pretty large, it's got the largest denominator and there's only one piece. All right, so on this number line right here, where do you think the 1/12 is going to go? Yeah, it's right here. It's closer to the 0 than to the 1, right? Much closer to the 0. Now, then look at 3/5 and 9/10. When I look at 9/10, my numerator and my denominator are real close to each other, aren't they? So 9/10 is almost what? It's almost 10/10, which is the same as? It's 1 whole. Yeah. So where do you think the 9/10 goes on this number line?
By the 1.
Close to the 1. All right, and then when I look at 3/5, that's just a little bit more than half, right? Because 2.5 is half of 5. So 3/5 is just a little bit more than half. So I'd put that one right after the. All right. So I can sometimes use just kind of what I know about fractions to put them in order. Okay? I can also compare the fractions to 1/2. Right? When I compare 3/5 to 1/2, is 3/5 greater than or less than 1/2? Go ahead and do your butterfly and tell me. I'm looking here. I want to know which is greater, 3/5 or 1/2. All right, let's do the butterfly. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. Which is greater? 3/5. So 3/5 is greater than 1/2. Is 1/12 greater than or less than 1/2? One 1/12 is how does that compare to 1/2? 1/12, which is 1/12 greater than or less than 1/2? Less than 1/2. Yes. Okay. Good. So what about 9/10? Is 9/10 greater than or less than 1/2? It's greater than 1/2. I'm going to if I do my butterfly, 10 times 1 is 10, 9 times 2 is 18. It's greater than.
Both 1/12 and 9/10 are both greater than 1/2.
All right.
And
so 3/5 and 9/10 are greater than 1/2.
Wait, I thought it was 1/12.
1/12 is less than 1/2. All right. So 1/12 is the smallest. Then I'm going to compare 3/5 and 9/10. Right, now they have common denominators. They say I can use a common denominator. And that would be 6/10 and 9/10. Again, I'm just going to butterfly it. So 6/10 is less than 9/10. And 3/5 is less than 9/10. So, which is the smallest? All right, let's look at another one. I think that's too many steps. All right. Yeah, go to page 259. I'm going to give you guys some scratch paper. Actually, no, you don't need, if you will look, the 2 pages that we used, just turn those over. Yep. All right, the worksheet that we did earlier, you can use that. Yeah, just turn it over, and you can use the back as scratch paper. Yeah, the ones we did before Miss Bowden came in here. Okay. All right, I want to start here labeling on the number line. All right, 3/10, 11/12, and 5/8. Which of those is less than 1/2? Three tenths is less than 1/2, so it will go here. Now, if I have 11/12 and 5/8, which of those is closest to 1? 11/12, so it's going to go to the 1, close to the 1. And then 5/8 is close to 1/2.
Yes,
All right, now, if I don't have a number line, let's look at these 3 fractions. Do I have any common numerators or denominators? Yes, I do. Which two have, what do they have? They have a common numerator or a common denominator? They have a common denominator. So let's do 7/10 and 9/10. Which one is greater? 9/10. So if I am putting these in order, I know that 9/10, the direction tells me to write the fraction with the greatest value. So I know that 7/10 is not the answer, right? Because I know that 9/10 is greater than 7/10. Now, if I want to compare 1/5 to 9/10, what are some ways I can do this? Okay, the butterfly will always work. Yes. You can always go to the butterfly if the other methods don't work for you. Now, if I'm looking at this, 9/10 is close to 1, and 1/5 is less than 1/2. So if I look at these fractions, just knowing the fractions, I know that 9/10 is the greatest. Now, if I do the butterfly, it's still going to work, because 5 times 9 is 45, and 1 times 10 is 10, so I still come up with the same answer. All right? So now, if I want to write the fraction with the greatest value, do I have any common numerators or denominators? Okay, what do I have? I have a common numerator. So if I look at the denominators, which is greater, 7/12 or 7/10?
7/12.
Which is greater, 7/12 or 7/10? 7/10 is greater. 7/10 is bigger. All right? So I know that 7/12 is not the greatest value. Now, is 5/6 greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2? It's greater than 1/2. Is 7/10 greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2?
Less.
It's greater. It's greater. Because 1/2 would be 5/10. All right, so let's butterfly it out. 6 times 7 is
42.
42, and 10 times 5 is 50. So which fraction is greater? 5/6. All right, look here. Do I have any common numerators or denominators? What do I have? Okay, I have 3 common numerators and I have 2 common denominators. Let's look at the numerators since I have more of those. Which is greatest, 2/8, 2/4, or 2/6?
2/8.
Which is a bigger piece?
2/4.
2/4 is the biggest of those 3. So 2/6 is not the greatest and 2/8 is not the greatest. Now, which is greater? 2/4 or 1/8? 2/4. 2/4 is the same as what? 1/2. And 1/8 is less than 1/2. So 2/4 is the greatest fraction in that list.
Write the fraction in order from least to greatest.
Are you trying to figure out the halves? Is that the rule you're trying to work out? Okay. If I multiply the numerator by 2, well, it's like this. Because if I divide both sides by 2, I get 1/2 as an equivalent fraction. But if I multiply the numerator times 2 and my answer is the denominator, the product is the denominator, then it's 1/2. Then it's equivalent to 1/2. So if I say the numerator times 2 equals the denominator, that's a half. All right, so I want to put these fractions in order from least to greatest. All right. Do I have any that are less than 1/2?
No. 1/4.
1/4 is less than 1/2. Do I have any others that are less than 1/2? No. So what is the smallest fraction here? What is least? 1/4. Okay. Do I have any that are greater than 1/2?
5/8.
5/8 is greater than 1/2. What about, and then what's my other fraction? 1/2. So what goes in the middle? 1/2. And then 5/8. All right. Let's look here. Do I have any that are less than 1/2? Yes, what is it?
3/10.
Okay, 3/10 is less than 1/2. So 3/10 goes first. Okay? Now, all of the rest of these fractions are greater than 1/2, aren't they? I have 3/5, 2/3, and 4/5. Well, what do I know about 3/5 and 4/5? They have a common denominator, so if I put those two in order, how do they go? 3/5 and then 4/5. So let's see if 2/3 is greater than 3/5 or less than 3/5. So I'm going to compare 2/3 and 3/5. It's 9, And that's 10. So 2/3 is greater than 3/5. So 3/5 goes next on my list because I'm going from smallest to... So I'm going from smallest to largest. All right, so now I need to compare 2/3 to 4/5. All right, which is larger? Okay, 4/5. So 2/3 goes after 3/5, and then 4/5 goes last. All right. What about 3/4, 7/12, and 5/12? Are any of those smaller than 1/2? Yeah, which one?
5/12.
Okay, so 5/12 goes first. So now what do I need to do with 3/4 and 7/12? Let's compare them and see which one is next. Okay, so I find out that 3/4 is greater than 7/12. So which fraction goes next if I'm putting them in order from least to greatest? 7/12, and then 3/4. All right. We will stop there.